context really is that every day we have another e-com brand upon us, and every day we have one more e-com brand taking to television or other forms of mass media and trying to make their presence felt. Now this in a context where the e-com industry in 2011 was close to 47,000 crores in India, but that included ticketing, which is about 80%. And there was about 850 million in funding that came through. Where's the funding, gentlemen? Yeah. So 850 million which came in. And there is talk that this is not going to continue for much longer if the monies don't show up. So in this context, how should e-com players go about branding themselves? How much money should they put on branding their e-commerce platforms?
And I think a little bit of history. I mean, eBay is a global brand, started about 15-16 years ago, really built itself virally. So the eBay brand really was not designed, managed, or it's not come where it has come today through conscious marketing efforts. In the global context, in all of our key markets, it's really evolved in a very organic fashion. eBay is typically defined by what is available on it for sale. Okay, so depending upon how the supply side merchandise changed, eBay is continuously evolved, and that's how the brand is kept evolving in all the key markets. It worked very well for eBay globally, right up to, let's say, 3-4 years ago, which is when I think actually the entire conscious, understanding of the platform, in terms of managing the platform more consciously started to come in as an internal philosophy within eBay. And we started encouraging more and more merchants, manufacturers, serious large players to kind of get online and use the eBay as a platform to sell. And which is where the entire branding question came in subsequently.
So, if I take a step back, this is a category creation time, right? And for those of us who were around back 15 years ago when, say, mobile telephony was born, I was around, we launched a brand called MaxTouch. We were probably spending 50% of our budget on marketing and advertising, right? So I think the industry right now is very much in category creation mode. And companies like Flipkart, if you look at a lot of their advertising, it's actually been much more about the category and less about the brand, right? So I think it was important that somebody took that position and said, look, there's a safe place to buy online, there's a lot of stuff that you can get, it's easily accessible, and by the way, you'll get it tomorrow morning and you can pay by cash, right? So I think that a lot of the value proposition of e-commerce, of range, access, convenience, payment options, somebody needed to talk about, right? So I think credit to them, and usually, those who create the category end up taking the category. So I think to their credit, I think now there's a lot more focus on specialization, differentiation, bringing customers back the second, third, fourth time. And a lot of our portfolio companies are spending money on saying, sure, I got them in the first time, what will it take to bring them in again? Why will they bring a friend along? Things like that, right? So definitely a shift in focus from pure acquisition to retention, repeat purchase, things like that.
Flipkart was already big as a huge books retailer. They were increasing their operations. They were going to introduce a lot of new categories. And the one thing that the company asked to discuss, and they said that, look, we're like first movers. One of the things that we need to do is to grow the category. And we need to educate people that they need not worry. I mean, as Indians, we had some inherent worries about transacting online. So while a couple of them were fears about using the credit card or not, from research, a couple of other worries popped up with people like, who's going to take care of my warranty? I mean, will I get an original warranty from the company if I buy from them, or do they have an exchange policy? Brands need to advertise on TV. That's not got to do so much with whether marketers are deciding to do so. That's got to do with the Indian psyche. In India, TV is still the most far-reaching medium, and the Indian psyche believes anything that appears on TV is credible. And that's why Indian brands, I mean e-commerce brands in India have to advertise on TV. If you don't come on TV and you put up a poster outside his house, but when you come on TV, say, hey, TV Maria, it must be a good company.
So if you step back for a second and just think about selling, okay, selling any product, the way that a product gets sold today is not, has changed. So if you were to think about the last mobile phone that you bought, or if you're thinking about buying a car, or the last car that you bought, there's a good chance that the process of buying something did not start when you looked at an ad, and did not start when you walked into a store. Right? The process of buying something started much earlier than that. And increasingly, selling, you don't actually sell products any longer. You're selling an experience, right? That experience includes everything that you hear about a product in the lead up to the actual purchase, the experience of owning the product and making sure that that product is good or bad, or the service that may be associated with that product. In this sort of a scenario, social has a role to play. It has a role to play when you start thinking about which product to buy, in terms of you going online and finding things, in terms of you just asking a friend that you believe knows a lot about that particular category. But the point is that it is a social experience. The buying itself is a social experience today. Once the product is bought, at that point of time, in terms of the service experience that you might enjoy, the questions that you might have in how to use that product or how to get the most out of that product, that's again a role, place where social has a role to play. When an ad on TV comes out for the first time, social has a role to play out there as well. If there is any one medium that is a partner in the sale and usage of a product from the time it is conceived and launched in the market to the time it finds a happy home with a consumer, I think social has a role to play, is your partner through that entire process. And we found that increasingly with the clients that we work with. So that's my take.
What was the impact to a brand and how it changes the ad? This is the most important piece. A 4-week TV campaign and what we can do to a .com. Well, traffic went up by 6 times. Sales went up also by 6 times. From a transaction of, let's say, 1,000 transactions a month, you went to 10,000 transactions a month. Suddenly you became larger than large brands like Aviva, MetLife, Egon, DLF, IDBI. They're all insurance companies. They're fairly large. They have more than 2,000 crores of capital. And if you look, suddenly you become larger than them. You're able to sell aggressively, right? And your cost of TV advertising is actually almost cheaper than advertising on internet. So that's a very important step. When do brands go online? It's actually about when they want the changeover to happen. When you have a back-end system which needs more traffic, right, and that results in more conversion, it's the right time to go on TV. Also, TV changes the basic matrix of the company. It allows you to get more profitable quickly, right? And in my understanding, if you have an X amount of money, spend everything on TV and try not to waste any other money. Right? That's I think in Indian current context, that's the best way of using your rupee.
So imagine if you're a apparel brand, so from a clothing point of view, and Navratri is coming up, and so how do you deck up? So can you put up an app through which you have lookbooks? I figure out, okay, what's happening. Can I use YouTube and actually show a video of someone walking, dancing, and you say, okay, I like this from here and I like that from there. And can you take that back into the transaction maybe? Can you do things which are a lot more around rewarding someone for, let's say, loyalty that he's shown you? Can you allow a person when he comes to your e-commerce site to express what he feels about your product? And not just express it to, it's not an expression to you, but it's expression to his social group. So I may say, I'd really like to have this or own this, or how do you think I'd look wearing this? And you can now bring that experience, integrate that back into Facebook and other social networks and involve your friends. You can do things which we commonly did as students when we were in college, that, hey, let's pool money together and buy some cool thing for a friend. So I may say, okay, hey, let's come together and let's buy something for Gaurav, a common friend, and you put in some amount of money, we gift him something. So social gifting is starting to happen. So you have mediums which are allowing interaction, you have mediums which are allowing virality and location. How do you leverage that with really fun apps that make it participatory, make it personal, and actually make it portable. That is the space that we are quite excited about, and hence build a brand experience that will get talked about.
So, I'm going to take a leap of faith and say that the mobile phone, which we've not talked about much, will be the screen of choice, right? And I think that we've heavily underinvested in that medium right now. It's a 100 crore market in terms of spend at best. But if I was to look out 5 years and I was to look at a couple of 100 million people on the internet, I'm willing to bet that the phone will be the first medium of interaction.
Also the access for shopping online?
For all access to the internet, right? Now, whether it means that you start your shopping experience there, you complete your shopping experience there, you walk into a store with a phone and you use it as an aid for your shopping, fundamentally it's going to be access, to the internet on the phone. And I think that, understanding that medium, understanding how it interacts with your online behavior, with your in-store behavior, with your, entertainment behavior is very important. So I think we have a unique opportunity in India because we don't have a lot of legacy internet access on the desktop, right? So I think if you think about how much you depend on this thing, it's our lifeline. So I do believe that, the more we invest around understanding how media works in this format, I think we're going to actually set the trend for a lot of other markets.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Rahul, jumping right along with him, but I don't think it's not just the phone. My big bet is that access to the internet is going to happen because of mobile networks. And if the 4G LTE launches, which are scheduled for the end of this year and early next year, my big bet is 2012 and especially 2013 is going to be the year that India goes online in far greater numbers than are being projected right now, and it's going to be driven by these newer mobile networks that are launching.
I think adding on to Rahul's point, that I think mobile is important. I think how I would think of it, I think 3 parameters would become important: social, local, and mobile. And the intersection of all the 3 to create interesting brand experience from a pure e-retail point of view. And also interestingly, where I'm quite excited is where you take the web to the store, and even in physical retail, can the journey of this every stage of commerce, from consideration, awareness, consideration, buying to post-purchase support, can that whole experience just become seamless, enjoyable, and social through devices or through mediums which use social, local, and mobile. And I think those are the kind of apps and things that we are really bullish on.
So, I think the 2 things that will drive e-commerce and what we are seeing early signs of is that we have apps across the iOS, Symbian, Android, etc., etc. We're not expecting transactions from them right now, but the number of people using it as a price check, it's amazing. Okay, we get so many availability checks and price checks that at some point in time, if there is very seamless checkout integrated, I think that's going to happen. People are walking into stores and people are checking prices.
First, just want to thank everyone, the panelists. This was really, really good, the discussion. Obviously, it's enriching for all of us to learn from all the experiences of the guys on the panel. So I really want to thank all of them. So please give them a big hand. Thanks again, guys. And to Campaign. Campaign India was like the Bible for all of us in the marketing communication space. So thanks to everyone at Campaign for making this happen. So, and of course, MSL Group, my team, everyone working for us, the guys who put this report together. So just on this report, I mean, you know, I am a big fan of e-commerce. I wasn't till a couple of years ago till I discovered something called Amazon, and since that day my bank account has been shrinking dramatically because I've been going crazy ordering everything that I can find, and many other portals like Amazon, of course. But clearly, I think the endeavor for us to put this report together was the business that we're in. Clearly, the social, PR, media, marketing space, we see huge opportunities for e-commerce. So this is the first report that we're putting out. So there are copies out there, so please collect them on the way out, and please do read it. There's a lot of work that's gone in from our content team to put this together. And this is the first report of probably a series that we're going to do. So I'm going to give you a preview. There's the next report, which is an extension of the e-commerce report today, will actually be done by MSL Group and Kuliza. So we had Kaushal over here speaking, and Anand, who wasn't speaking but is also here from Kuliza. And so MSL Group and Kuliza are actually putting together another report which will come out soon. And clearly this is going to be like a recurring theme for us, because the digital social convergence along with portals and e-commerce is clearly the future, or actually the present really for us in the communication business. So thanks again to everyone, and thanks for being here, and hopefully when we do the next event, we'll let you guys know, and we'd love to have you back again. Thank you.